Hi, everybody. Welcome to the SyFy Sistas podcast, where we give you our point of view. I'm Tamia Harper, and I'm joined here today with my SyFy sisters. Say hello, SyFy sisters.
Hello, SyFy Sistas.
On deck, we got JD Keeling.
Howdy.
Miss Fran T.
Hello.
Miss Yvette Blackman-Tom.
Hello.
And last but certainly not least, Miss Subrina Wood.
Whoop.
Hey, everybody. We are so glad to be here today. We are a proud member of the Trek Geeks Podcast Network, and we're happy to bring this show to you today on the network. Today, we're going to be talking about The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, or as JD and Yvette like to call it,
The Sam Bucky Show.
That's right, the Sam and Bucky Show. So our lovely host for today is JD. But before we get into that, I just want to take a moment to shout out our fantastic sponsors, the official sponsors of the SyFy Sistas podcast, Science Division, who the makers are the world's first and only app-enabled tribble. And these triples are the softest and fuzziest and most adorable little alien species that you can cuddle with. They're so much fun. They have 3 modes: at ease, where it trills and vibrates and just expresses its happiness at having found a forever home with you. It's on duty mode, when it's actively seeking Klingon infiltrators. It trills softly for friends and squeaks really loudly when it senses a Klingon nearby. And a watchdog mode, where it guards your precious possessions like bat lifts and phasers and even those pesky comm batches, because, you know, they're so hard to keep up with. So adopt your tribble today at Science Division. That's sciencediv.com. Science Division, by fans, for fans. Trouble's never been this fun. All right, so JD, you ready to get down with the Sam and Bucky show?
Yeah.
All right, let's start our deep dive.
All right. So today we are going to be tackling the new Marvel Disney show, the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I really did almost call it the Sam and Bucky Show.
I think we should just do that for the rest of the show. It's just the Sam and Bucky Show for the sisters.
Y'all know what you're in for now.
Hey.
And with that being said, there will be spoilers. So if you have not watched episode 1 and 2, take an hour and a half, watch it, then immediately come back. Do not pass go, do not eat, do not pay the kidnapping fees. Just come back to the podcast. All that will wait for you.
Okay, you back?
All right. Now, with that, yeah, like good now. Okay, with that taken care of, I got a question for my co-host. What do you know about Marvel? Because I'm just wondering, like, what is our baseline here? You know, because a lot of MCU fans, they don't know the comics. A lot of comic fans, they have feelings about the MCU. So I just want to know, where are we all coming from?
All right.
I guess I'll start with Subrina.
Yeah. Okay, start with the OGs. Why not? Okay, right. Since we're like the Star Trek people and we know all Star Trek, do we know our MCU? Yeah, girl, you know I know my MCU. So I started this as a kid back in the day when I used to fight with people verbally about what was better, Marvel or DC. Marvel, DC. I was that Marvel kid back in the day when everybody was talking about Batman and the TV show was on and everybody was talking all that mess. I was still talking Marvel. So that's what my baseline is.
All right. And just going down the line that you people cannot see, let's go to Yvette.
Well, unlike Subrina, I know who the best comics are, and that would be the DC universe.
All right, we're done with that.
I've been fighting you. I would have been fighting you. Verbally.
I was fighting, but not verbally.
Oh,
but
wow.
Yes, I was definitely a DC chick. Didn't like Marvel at all. But but then DC started making movies, and guess what? I'm a Marvel fan. Those DC movies are just
I was
trash.
just sitting here waiting for you to figure it out.
But no, I like Marvel a lot now, and I'm a comics kind of girl, so I read both DC and Marvel, and I do have a little, I feel a certain way about these DC movies, but it's okay, get it out there. I'm cool with it.
All right, Fran, how about you?
I was a DC girl. Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman. That was me. I love those comics. I bought those comics. I didn't even know, to tell you the truth, about Marvel. I didn't, but the thing I see about the movies is that the only thing I think is the difference is that DC movies are pretty void of humor. They are so serious, whereas Marvel is fun and not lighthearted, but just fun, and they have a sense of humor about themselves, whereas DC doesn't. But I like them both, but I like the DC comics best. But I will look at the Marvel movies for the reason that I just said.
All right, and Tamia, how about you?
So I am that annoying friend that you go to the Marvel movie with who goes, "Who's that?" And, wait, what are they talking about? Wait, Shield? What's Shield?
So let's start from the beginning. The show is about Bucky and the Falcon.
No, I overstated. No, I am I'm more familiar with the movies, with the MCU, than the comics. I'm not really a comic reader. Like, I like comics and I'll read it if somebody puts it in my hand, but I'm not going to the comic book store all the time looking for comics. I mean, that's just not me. My thing was books, and, so I never felt badly towards comics. It just wasn't where I gravitated. So once the movies started coming out, though, I was all into the movies. I loved them. But I always have to be reminded of who these people are in this universe, because like my deep universe immersion is designated for Trek most of the time, and now The Expanse is in there, and then the rest of that is books. The rest of that energy is books. So I don't remember all the time. I'm always having to ask my partner. I'm always asking James, like, who is that? Because James is the serious, like, comic head. Like, He's a hardcore comic head, that's his thing. So, I just call him up and like, okay, baby, what's going down now? I'm like,
shout out to James, please, because my boy knows some comics.
Yes, he does.
All right. And I guess it just brings it back to me. So I will say I knew about Marvel before I could read. Like, I remember it was probably about 1996. We had just gotten a dog. We were in Kodiak. I wasn't even 5 yet. I was 4.
Wait, I'm sorry. Time out. Sorry. Let me just get it out.
Leave her alone.
No, it's not her. I'm just not familiar with hearing these dates associated with being little.
Yes.
As my child.
I just had to get it out of my system. I'm sorry, JD. I meant no disrespect, and I certainly didn't.
Sorry, JD. I didn't mean that. I'm so
Back
sorry.
to my magical story of 1996.
Please continue with no further interruption from your sister over here.
Yeah, but like I said, I was probably about 4. We had just gotten our first dog. It was a cute little gremlin of a white puppy, and we named him Cable after the comic book character Cable, which infuriates me to this day because I wanted to name him Wolverine. However, my brother got final say for some reason.
A little white dog named Wolverine.
Little white dog named Wolverine.
That would have been good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's how far back I go with Marvel Comics. And huge fan of the movies. Haven't seen most of Phase 3, so I don't know how I got into this, but we're here now. So let's begin.
Let's.
So we're doing this a little differently because I didn't come up with questions. It's gonna be a discussion. And as a Marvel aficionado, I am going to guide mostly Tamia through the universe and the Easter eggs. So
Ooh, Easter eggs. I love it.
So the show, it starts off with a very great scene, which I love because it highlights the fact that Sam Wilson is not Steve Rogers. In a similar way that we see in Captain America: The Winter Soldier, we have Falcon going against Batroc the Leaper. Mm-hmm. What did you guys think of this opening scene, though? How do you, if you're new to the show, how did you feel watching that as an opener? Subrina?
Okay, well, I am a Marvel fan and saw all of the Marvel's cinematic universe movies. So, but Falcon wasn't one of the ones that I was like, oh, I got to get more Falcon. I was like, he's all right, but it wasn't like jonesing on him or anything. Even though Anthony Mackie, brother, if you're listening, and I know you are, you one smooth dude. All right, Anthony, you and me, baby. But anyway, so I was not like, okay, I'm gonna watch this, but that opening scene had me like by the neck. I was screaming. He looked like a bird at one time. I mean, he really looked like a bird. When he let Red Wing go, I was just, oh my God. It was amazing. It was very James Bondish to me, how they have that big opening scene. And I thought to myself, he doesn't need to be Captain America. Falcon is gonna be okay. That's how I thought.
All right. Yvette?
I thought it was good. I liked the opening scene. I liked that it was the action, and it was his action. Because we all know, I think most of us know what the ending is going to be, but it's all about how they got there. But I like Sabrina said, or whoever said it, it's definitely his show. It's not Steve Rogers. That is not how Steve Rogers works. This is how the Falcon works, and it was perfect. I like that. That was his opening scene. You got to know who he was, what he was about, and this is the show you got. This is not the Steve Rogers show. This is the Sam and Bucky show. You see Bucky in a minute. And Bucky's going to show off too.
Bucky.
And Fran, how about you? What were you thinking with those opening moments?
Well, it was all action, and it grabs people by the throat. It's just pure action. And of course, me being the Trekkie that I am, I'm saying, okay, this is just mostly action here. This is, I mean, the action is great, but it's just mostly action, and I'm not so used to so much action. And I know they have action in Marvel. I understand that. And I just, like, oh, this is really something. And that little red wing thing. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is, but you also saw, as I said, the humor. I saw the humor in it too. I'm like, okay, funny action then, it's like, this is pretty cool, but it grabs you by the throat and doesn't let you go. So action, which was a good thing in this case, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Can't have Captain America without some action.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Tamia?
I loved that opening scene. I went into this like I knew I wasn't going to know what was going to be a deep cut and what was going to be referring back to any previous Marvel history. I just went into it looking for a good show. Right. And that opening scene it was so cinematic, right? That's the type of stuff you see in movies. You don't see that on the small screen. And I loved every moment of that whole opening. I love the characters, the introduction to the characters. I loved the the sheer like physicality and acrobats, and I thought it was beautiful to watch him fly. You know, I mean, it was actually beautiful. Like, even though it was so hard hitting, you know, I mean, it was just dope. And it made me think like, it didn't make me think of a James Bond opening, but it made me think of a Mission Impossible scene.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay, Marvel's doing Mission Impossible right now, which is dope.
Okay, which Mission Impossible? The original or the movie?
No, the movies.
The movies.
Sorry.
Oh, okay. I'm not done. I'm not a.
But yeah, no, it was definitely great, and I like that we see Sam as Sam, because in the movies you never really got a lot of that. You usually see him alongside Cap, so like this was really the first time you see Sam standing out as just being Falcon.
It's Falcon.
And everything that he could do.
Yeah, like him with his wings and him taking on Batroc, which was a really nice callback in a way to the Winter Soldier, because you have the opening scene from that where he just jumps out of a plane, except he didn't have wings or a parachute, and he takes on Batroc. And, you know, Sam, a smarter man, jumps out of a plane with an ability to fly.
Right. A smarter man.
You know, I didn't realize that was a callback until I was watching Winter Soldier again, like today.
Yeah.
I was watching it. I was watching
Bad
that
guy.
earlier, and I was
Bad
like,
guy
"Oh, okay. I probably should have watched this a little bit earlier than just now."
Personally, I just want to give a shout out to the Queen Latifah moment. If anybody watched The Last Holiday, when they all jumped out of the helicopter wearing those little puffy suits, all I could think of was Queen Latifah jumping out the
Last Holiday.
Are they doing Last Holiday now? Are they going to jump out the plane? I was like, Queen Latifah did this. Queen Latifah did this years ago.
I saw it once. I don't even remember them jumping out of a plane.
They jumped out of the helicopter. They had those puffy sailing suits on. And all I could think of was Queen Latifah.
Okay.
Clearly, Marvel needs to hire Queen Latifah. I'm just saying.
I'm just saying. I'm cool. I watched that.
But yeah, and
too.
I just wanted to bring that to your attention.
Thank you.
And with that opening scene, you also get your very first Easter egg with the introduction of Torres, who, for anyone who isn't currently reading the comics, which may be a lot of people, I know I'm not, Joaquin Torres is actually the current Falcon. So, could we be setting up your boy in the future?
Because I said, you know, he's talking too much about that stuff.
I know it because I knew he had a role.
He's coming up with something.
What's he gonna be?
I know, right? Like you got to say, I knew he was important.
Yes.
Yep. You know, you could tell by the stress that they placed and the time that they gave to this character that he was
like,
important.
Who's this guy gonna be? I could not get it. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I can see that.
That's dope.
Sorry to spoil your shine, Marvel, but I mean,
you
made it.
I'm cool. I like that. That's cool.
That just encourages me
I liked him
to go pick up the comic and read the stuff. You know.
Yeah.
Because I'm not reading the new stuff.
I'm not either.
No, I like the old one better.
That was quick. We're just going to stay with the MCU.
Right.
But after our amazing intro, we have Sam. He got to cut and run because he has to go to the Smithsonian. And that was a scene that really made me angry. Not for the whole Sam giving away the shield, but because I work for a company that is currently doing work at the Smithsonian. So all I could hear was billing. Well, what did you guys think?
Just that billing. You know what stood out for me in that one? So the guy that is Secretary of, I think it was the Secretary of Defense, was there with Rhodey, and when Sam came in with the shield, the Secretary of Defense told Sam, "You're doing the right thing. You're doing the right thing."
Yes.
And then the next time you see him,
we're not getting there yet. But yeah,
sorry,
no,
I'm just saying that's the only thing I thought about when I saw that. It just kept. I was like, this, this, yeah. I was angry from that point on.
Yep.
I will say, watching that scene this morning to come up with my amazing show notes, I was sitting there thinking like, wow, tell me you have a conservative government without telling me you have a conservative government.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
And
it just hit it. I was like, okay.
My sister is a Marvel head. I mean, she knows, she's looked at all the movies and she's looking at them over again. Mm-hmm. And the first question that I asked her was, how did he get the shield? And she had to remind me of at the end of that he had turned old, that Captain America, and he gave. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. He did give him that shield because I had forgotten how he got the shield. And I was like, well, why is he giving the shield away? I was a little concerned about the shield being given to the government, basically, because the Smithsonian is run by the government.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
And that was Tony Stark's shield, not the government shield. So.
Right.
And I will say, for those of you who were like Fran and do not remember all 3 hours of Endgame, at the end
of glorious hours of Endgame,
Steve goes to the past. He lives a great, wonderful, long life with his wife Peggy. He becomes Joe Biden and decides to give up his shield.
Joe Biden.
He looks like Joe Biden.
Really did. Wasn't that cool? He's ended up with Peggy. I love that.
But one thing at the scene at the Smithsonian that I really thought was great was that Rhodey was quietly asking Sam if he thought he was doing the right thing. So, we're going to get this scene that we're going to talk about, I'm sure, in a little bit. But this was a Black man who was wearing all the bars and stars. Rhodey is a career soldier and still serving and in full uniform. And, he was saying, brother, are you sure you want to give this up? So I thought that was really interesting that he even said, it's a new day, brother. When he said, why don't you take the sword? I mean, the seal. And Rhodey said, it's a new day, brother. And I thought that was really interesting when he said that, because Rhodey's actually in the same position. Here's a man that he's lost his guiding star too. He's lost Iron Man, and he's War Machine. And I'm like, well, you tell him take the shield. Why don't you get in the suit, Rhodey? Because he didn't. That wasn't even in his mind. But he's looking at Sam like he gave you the shield, but he was so calm about it. I really like that about that performance. He was just really kind of like
he was a true he was a true professional about it.
Yeah.
But in that statement, like you said, the way he said it, it's a new day, brother. It wasn't brother, it was brother.
Yeah, he was
talking to him. He wasn't talking to he was talking to him. You all know
walked away
about.
from him.
He
walked away from him and just let him stand there and think about that.
He was talking to him in a moment of one brother to another brother. Not in a moment in his official capacity.
Right.
He was talking to him as somebody else who's been through some stuff, trying to guide this younger brother through some stuff, but respected him enough to let him go his own way. When he said,
he's a class act.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I did have that in my notes, that Rhodey code switches, which I love. Because never do we see Rhodey code switch.
Right?
Never.
Like that
Never.
stood out to me, where it's all like, oh shit, these Black people talking.
No, but I think that was a true moment when you said that. Like when because usually he's a straight-laced guy.
Yep.
And for him to say that, to have that statement, that was powerful for people who, I think it hit everybody. But if you know the universe, you know that, Rhodey's that straight-laced guy. He never really, he doesn't sway, he's straight. And for him to say that, I thought it was awesome.
his whole line was the world is broken and everybody is just looking for somebody to fix it. Nobody's stable. Woo. Right. I was like, Rhodey's saying the stuff is messed up, okay?
And I thought that was a great line too. I'm glad you brought that one up because I remember when I first heard that, I was like, wow, this is really written for today. You know, I mean, it just spoke deeply to the wishes in my heart, right? And what we just went through in this last election cycle and what we feel like now, you know, is still feel collectively very lost and broken. It's been a rough year. It's been a really hard year.
It's been a rough 4 years.
Yeah.
The election year capped off the horror that this, you know, so it was broken. We were broken for a while. Totally broke. Yeah.
So we need a new hero.
So this is great writing from the outset, you know.
Oh my gosh, yes.
From Jump Street.
There
was not a wasted bit of dialogue in this
small
frame of time, and we learned so much about these characters in a small space of time. I was really impressed with that. I know I'm not going to go forward. I know we're just on the opening scenes.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, you know, I was going to let y'all talk because my next thing was all like, after we get from the Smithsonian, Sam goes, you know, he goes home to Louisiana, which also just brought back various war flashbacks to me. But this was a very traumatizing opening moment, okay? But, you know, you see Sam in a way we don't actually see most Marvel characters. He's a dude. He's a man. He's got family. He's got nephews. He got a boat. He got to pay for. Yes. And like he is living in the real world as we see with him dealing with his sister who, you know, she wasn't, you know, just magically poofed out of existence for 5 years. She's been struggling for 5 years and she cannot deal with his idealism. That we can fix this. We can do good. I can help you. She's just sitting there like, no.
Right. Like, I'm tired. I've been at this a long time. You know?
She's been there 5 years alone with the 2 kids. So, you know, she's just like, what are you coming in here and going to tell? What she call him? Coming in here, Mr. Super Cape, coming to save me, coming to rescue me. And she was cool about it. But Sarah was just like, I've heard all this. You know, what you going to do? Like the man in the bank is about to tell him.
Wow. He got a real awakening at that bank, didn't he?
Real
I was gonna bring up.
That's true story right there.
Before we get to the bank, I just want to go back to what you were saying, JD, like that I also loved about that whole segment was seeing this superhero character in the real life persona, right? Which we never, I mean, I think one of the reasons why I started falling in love with this little mini series here was because he's one of the characters I've always wanted to know about. You know, I got really tired of these other characters. I'm like, oh, yay, there go the white folks to save the day again. Woohoo, whoop-de-doo. You know, you got Black people in your cast, right? You know, can we see them? Yeah. So, you know, just to see what was really human about him and what was going on in his life and the perspective. I love the whole idea. I love the fact that they tackle this idea of what it's like when people come back, you know, which is touching on like immigration issues and stuff, and you know what it's like for the people that have been there who are already struggling, and you know now you're adding onto my tax base. Damn it, do I have to feed you too? You know, I just thought that was just all brilliant. But I love seeing him and his sister together. You know, that dynamic was so real. You know, you could see the love between the two of them, but like they loved each other enough to be able to have those difficult conversations, you know. And I loved all of it.
I will say one thing I loved about them beyond their dynamic was the fact that it touched on something, I guess, I don't know. I know I've personally been through where sometimes you don't have the energy to be idealistic. That's hard. Usually I'm the Sam in the situation where it's all like, no, you got to look on the bright side, and everyone's just telling me, shut up. Like, the world sucks. Let it suck for 5 minutes, okay? I don't want to keep trying. And I get it. I can't do it, but I get it. And I felt that was also just like a necessary moment for Sarah to just be like, no, like you weren't doing this. You haven't been here even before the 5 years.
Right.
I had to deal with our parents. I've been raising 2 boys by myself.
Because this ain't new to her. And now
you're going to come in here and tell me what we're going to do.
Right. Because she was in the comics also. So I was so glad to see her come back. I was like, oh, I'm glad they're using his sister. Not in Harlem, but in NOLA. I'll take NOLA. Okay.
In a minute.
That's good. Yeah.
So we said something about coming back, and I want to go back to Bucky because we have Sam trying to come back into his real life, and we have Bucky trying to come back into real life. And I think it's one of those things where even the person that's going to come in a little bit, Walker, he's even trying to come back. It's all these guys are coming back. It's one of those things like that Band of Brothers. If you ever watched that thing where that's that idea of, the war's over and you've done all this stuff and now you go back to real life, and it's so difficult for them to come down from all of that. I mean, we even started in The Hobbit. Samwise Gamgee and Frodo couldn't even deal when they came back to Hobbit Town. They were like, I've seen the world, I've done all this stuff. I can't come back. And now Bucky is in a real situation where not only is he coming back after all this time, he's finally been released, which I thought was a killer scene. We see him in the psychiatrist's office first.
Right. Well, we see him sleeping on the floor first.
Oh my God. Bucky, get a bed, brother.
Yeah.
What?
That's not,
this is a furniture.
That's very significant. That's a significant scene.
No.
Yep, it was not a thing in that house. My heart broke for him.
No. I mean, the thing is, that's Bucky's choice. Like a lot of, because I've seen this come up a lot, like a lot of veterans, they relate to that. Oh, I'm not going to sleep on the bed. That bed doesn't feel right. And that's kind of what they illustrated with Bucky, because he is on the floor. He has a TV going, even though he is out. Just, there is sound. There is something happening around him to kind of help him. I can't even think of the word for it.
Cope? No.
I won't say cope, only because when we see Bucky in the therapist's office, he's not coping. Like, there was a definite lack of effort for him to do anything beyond making amends. He is not fixing himself. He is just righting his own wrongs.
Right.
Guilt. Pure guilt.
And the amends that he were making were not really true amends either.
No.
I love how much time they spent in the therapist's office though. With him.
I love that scene.
Oh my gosh, it's brilliant.
That was a the therapist scene was I don't think there's too many veterans who haven't been there in that veterans therapist office and trying to get through it so you can get out.
Mm-hmm.
And especially with unfortunately I've actually done that too. So you basically just going through the motions so you can get the hell out of there and never come back again.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's, when I saw that, I was like, oh my goodness. So that was those Bucky scenes in the beginning were pretty rough. It was like, oof,
I thought the direction
pretty rough.
They came right up on their faces. I mean, it was such a tight shot on both the doctor's face and Bucky's face.
They did a great job. They really did. Of getting all the feels right also. Because they like tapped into a lot of feels for a lot of different people. So a lot of different people saw that, and just that one scene in so many different ways. I mean, I felt like a few ways just looking at that, you know, but it was great. I just loved everything about that. It was very real. It was funny, you know, just like Fran was saying, their funny is not like hilarious, comical. It's real life. It's real life talk, real banter. You know, so it works.
You're a bad psychiatrist. When you coming at me? No, when he kept having the reaction to the Notebook, I thought that was great because, you know, here's this big guy who can, you know, he's a super soldier, but he's like, oh, not the Notebook. Are we gonna?
Right.
You know,
it worked, and it was so effective. You know, the thing.
But
was
as a soldier, the notebook means you're putting somebody on report.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
So
as soon as she
I had to save
pen.
Every time she did it, I was like,
yep.
Damn it. I was like, put the notebook down. Talk about the
talk. No, give me a break. Not the Notebook. Like she was taking out a whip on him, you know? I just thought, like, oh my God.
That's one more day back in the therapist's office.
He was reacting. I mean, as soon as she opened the Notebook, he was like, okay. Oh, yeah. You know, like thumb screws.
Right.
It was brilliant. I loved it.
It was brilliant.
And I gotta say, like, one thing just to note about Bucky and his status as not just the Winter Soldier, but even back as Bucky. Like, one thing to remember about him is from 1944 to 2014. This man has been at war. Yeah. Like, there was never respite for him. So, like, that is 70 years.
He said 90.
Just trauma.
He said, I've been fighting for 90 years. I just want rest.
Because he started at 16. 17 he started.
I mean,
well, I think they made him a little older in the movies, but it's basically from 1944 to the end of Endgame with a brief period where he didn't even know who he was. Like, that was his only moment of peace, was just not knowing anything about himself.
Oh, I told you, my heart.
His little stint in Wakanda, as Sam put up there.
Oh my God.
Well, you all stealthy now.
I know, right?
Who are you, the White Panther?
Nah, it's the White Wolf, baby. Like the best.
I know it. It's like, who? What? Who?
What?
And another great thing about Bucky, which we see, is during his date, like with oh God, I can't remember the old man's name, but
Mr. Nagas, the Asian guy.
Izzy,
Izzy. What Izzy? He can be happy. He can be fun. It's very relaxed. But trying to fit in with that waitress on that date, just being a normal person, that looked like it was the hardest thing he ever did.
That was so funny.
That was
when he brought the flowers and she said, "Oh, how quaint!" or something. She said,
right?
No, she says the most adorable thing.
Yeah, she was just like,
adorable.
Yeah,
thing
how
I've ever
old-fashioned.
seen.
Flowers, that's so weird. You know, he was just like, "Oh, brother, we don't do
flowers. Better bring me some damn flowers."
He looked so awkward. It made it really difficult for me to watch that scene, but you know, because he did such a great job with it, you know. But I mean, yes, because he was so inept and awkward.
He hadn't done this in a while.
He hadn't danced since 1943. I was like, ooh. Please tell me dance ain't what I think it means.
It was just like, oh my God, this poor guy. Oh.
I was like, oh, he's so sad.
Yeah. And then, because I feel like we skipped over one of everyone's most important scenes, the bank, where we learned the Avengers are just interns.
I was going to bring
Thank you. I was like, what is this, Star Trek? We don't have money in this society?
Money? Nobody's getting paid? What?
You're just interning for Stark Industries. It's fine.
And that's exactly what they were doing. They were living at his house.
Sam, next time you jump out of a plane,
Star Compound.
you need to clock in before you jump out.
He was putting clothes on their back.
Wow. But he had been gone for 5 years, so he didn't have any income for the 5 years.
But before that,
like he didn't even have a little nest egg, nothing.
What'd you say, Fran?
Oh, I just, I thought I'm like, did we just miss the bank scene? What happened with the bank scene? They had they had no money, no collateral, no nothing, and he thought he was going to go in there. Well, I didn't want to mention it, like,
right.
I didn't want to bring it up, but yeah, I'm the Falcon. And it meant squat. Had no money.
Well, I felt like so many things when I was watching that scene, right? Like, it reminded me of what returning citizens go through. And they're trying to deal with their money situations. It reminded me of, not reminded me, but did tell the story of Black folks who have been well established for years and can't get a loan. Well established, doing well, trying to upgrade the business, and can't get a loan.
Can't get it.
You're not a safe prospect for us to get paid back, really?
Right, because the SBA requirements have changed with all these people just popping up and showing up. I was just like, so the government just changed the requirements now that people really need the money. That was interesting.
Which was like, we just lived through 4 years of that.
Mm-hmm.
You wake up next day and, guess what? These loan requirements have changed. These tax requirements and regulations have changed. You're not getting as much money on your benefits if you're on your EBT card anymore. If you were getting 75, went down to maybe 20, 25.
They just changed the rules. They just changed the rules.
So that bank scene was poignant, to say the least. And I thought it was really important for Sam's character, because it was the slap in the face back to reality that he really needed.
Because, Sis was just sitting there watching the whole thing like, I told you.
Mm-hmm. She's like, I told you.
Are you trying to help us or indict us?
Thank you, sis. I was like, ooh, snap.
Okay.
If you want to take a selfie, get the hell out of here.
And I will say, Sam, he came in like, no offense, gentlemen, like a typical dude, where it's just all like, no, I got this. I'm sure you haven't tried this, so I got this.
Right, and she's just sitting there like this. All right, you do you, boo. Go ahead. I'll be right here.
Right.
I'll be right here. When you fall, I got you. No, you go ahead. I got you. She knew what was gonna happen. So,
who was the older sibling? Is Sam older or is Sarah older?
Oh, I don't know.
Pick up which one was older. Not that it mattered.
I thought she might be older.
You think she was the older one?
That she was older.
Okay, I have to look at the little.
I don't know, listeners. Can you put it in the comments?
Yes.
I am going to say I believe Sarah is older.
The way she whacked him.
She made a comment about him leaving.
Mm-hmm.
And if she was older, she probably would have left first. Like, it would have been bye, you deal with the family. But, she made the comment like, Sam, you joined the military. I was the one helping mom and dad.
That's the girl thing. That's the daughters always kind of get stuck with that, even not in my family's case.
Yeah, it might be an older.
You're right though. I left my brother there. You're right, JD. I left. Sorry, Lloyd. Anyway, okay, so we're still in episode 1, so we gotta move on to episode 2. Don't you think? Is there anything more to say in 1?
Actually, I will say about episode 1, how did you guys feel about that end? Where we got to meet on Good Morning America, Captain America.
Oh,
I was so mad.
Oh, but that
from 21. As soon as they said that, I was like, "Say what?"
I was so mad when I saw him, and they talking about, look, ladies and gentlemen, the new Captain America, and he looked like a wish Captain America. The the people you send off for stuff, and it's supposed to look one way, and it looks another. You know, the wish people.
Mhm.
He
I know
looked
what you're talking about.
a horrified knockoff
Wow.
of Captain America.
Wow.
I was so pissed.
She
I
said he was the generic one that you got, like the generic cereal, and it didn't
He
have a
was
toy.
you know, instead of Cocoa Puffs, it's like brown stuff.
Uh-uh.
You know, I
No
I
frills.
I was like, you gotta be kidding. How and why did they do this? I'm looking at my sister, I'm like, what? And she says, oh yeah, the government did that. Okay. Oh,
Right. That's like I was saying, that's Secretary of Defense.
Yep.
He got up there and
Mhm.
was like, okay, thank you, Sam. You
Took
did the
the
right
shield
thing.
out of the bulletproof glass at the Smithsonian and just handed it to this unshaven, crooked nose, crazy.
Which I will say, after Captain America, the Winter Soldier, you would think the Smithsonian would have got better security. I'm just saying.
Well, they didn't steal it.
Second time they've been checked.
Not that they stole it or anything.
Right,
But-
you know, I look at it too like a not so subtle message about giving away your power. You know, I mean,
Mhm.
he had that power. But he couldn't embrace it, right? And he gave it away, and then guess what? It was abused.
He didn't think he
You
was
know,
worthy.
we don't know that it was abused yet, right? We're still on episode 1.
It
But it
abused
was
me as soon as he
abused
put
in the
it on.
sense that, like, the shield went to do unintended things. It was supposed to be put on a shelf, right? His intention was like, okay, we're done with this now, But if finders, keepers, losers, weepers, shorty. He you gave it away.
Yeah.
I felt abused just
But
looking
then
at
we
it.
come back to what Yvette said when the man said, "Oh, you did the right thing, Sam." Like, oh, for him, you did the
Yeah.
right thing for that man.
Because
Right.
he did not want to see. He didn't want to see a black man as Captain America.
No, because he sure didn't tell him to keep the shield and put it
He
on.
sure
put
did
the
not.
uniform on.
No.
Like everybody else. Like
Right.
That's all Bucky said in episode 1. Why'd you
Right.
give up the shield, man?
Right.
Come on.
You
Why'd
don't even
you
know
give
what
up
you
the shield?
had. Why are you
Right.
giving up the shield?
It was
Everybody.
given to him freely. It was given
Right.
to him
It was given to him by Captain America.
by
Steve
Captain
Rogers.
America.
He
Mhm.
came
Whose
all the way
Daggone
back.
shield it was.
And he deserved it.
Yeah.
He didn't even think that he deserved it. He didn't
Yeah.
think that he could handle it, or that he
and there's
deserved
the
it.
tragedy. And there's the
Right.
tragedy. He
Right.
did not
Right to
believe
me.
he was worthy.
He was
When
worthy, right?
the only man that could tell you he was worthy told him he was worthy, he still didn't believe.
Showed him he was worthy.
Oh
Showed him.
my God.
Which is a real thing, I
Which
mean,
is
that's real talk right there.
That's a
Mhm.
true story right there.
It's a
Mhm.
new day,
Many of
brother.
us.
It's a new day, brother.
All right. I guess it's our sign out, so I'm gonna toss it back to Tamia.
Well, that was a great discussion. And before we leave, I think one of the reasons why, before we leave this discussion altogether, I just want it noted that, this series, this groundbreaking series that Marvel has decided to do is groundbreaking in other ways too, because all 6 of these episodes of this show are directed by a woman, Carrie Skoglund or Skoglund. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing her name correctly, but somebody out there will let me know, I'm sure, because we know you're listening. And Malcolm Spellman is a Black man who is the showrunner. So he's the head
Yay.
writer. I know, right? Yay.
Mhm.
So that's why
That's
a lot
awesome.
of this feels so real, because there's somebody from the community writing this, which I think is amazing. And yet another reason why we as SyFy Sistas wanted to cover this particular show. It wasn't just because we love Marvel. Yeah.
Because it's a new day, brother.
This is a new day, brother.
I love that.
I'll go with Rhodey.
So I know that we're not the only ones who love this show. And so if folks have thoughts about this particular episode of ours, or other thoughts about the Falcon and the Winter Soldier that they want to share with us, Yvette, how can they do that?
Well, you can find us at SyFySistas.com. That's SyFySistas.com. You can join us on the mothership. That's MUTHASHIP SHIP, and the SyFy Sistas Book Club, both on Facebook. On Instagram, you can find us at syfy.sistas. And we're also on Twitter, and that's at SyFy Sistas.
Thank you. And Subrina, you want to let people know about Dose?
Well, we always want to give a shout out to our most favorite engineer, our sound guy, Mr. Dose the Anonymous. And you can find him at, you can get in touch with him on his email, which is Dose the Anonymous 1, the number, at gmail.com. I'm not even going to try to spell it.
Okay, I got the spell. It's DOSTHEANONYMOUS, the number 1, at gmail.com.
I want everybody to know they were all laughing when she threw that over here to me. I just want you all to know that, because she knows I can't spell.
Like what?
It's my curveball for the day.
I'm an accountant, not a speller, Jim Kirk.
Well, thank you, everybody. It's been a wonderful show. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week. Peace, love, and hair grease.
Bye-bye.